Breakfast makes no difference. Thoughts about the relative significance of missing breakfast have the potential of compelling one to splutter into one's coffee after dropping a hot buttered toast. Claims attempting to affirm that breakfast is the day's most important meal have been found to possess relatively negligible scientific basis according to recent research. While the NHS has championed the idea of going to work on porridge or an egg or enjoying a full English meal on the weekend on their website, recent research has found this to make little difference. The belief that failing to eat breakfast mostly influences people to overeat later in the day has been found not to be entirely true. A recent study made public in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition observes that eating a heavy breakfast immediately when one wakes up or skipping it altogether has considerably no impact on an individual's making the effort to lose weight. The researchers chose 300 obese and overweight individuals who were otherwise healthy, between the ages of 20 and 65. The researchers assigned the sampled individuals into two groups. One group was instructed to take a heavy breakfast each morning, while other group was expected to skip the meal. Researchers kept tracking the weight of the sampled individuals for 16 weeks, after which they made their conclusion. The scientists discovered that the individuals who grabbed a bite in the morning failed to lose any more weight compared to their counterparts who failed to do the same. According to Dr. Richard Johnson, the chief of Renal Disease and Hypertension Division at the Colorado University, fructose, which makes up most of the cereal breakfast meals, can trigger our fat switch. He coined the term fat switch in his book, Fat Switch and the Sugar Fix. The book presented a groundbreaking obesity prevention and reversion approaches. Dr. Johnson explains that some forms of sugars, particularly grain carbohydrates, are elaborately more hazardous as compared to other sugars in light of the biochemical effect on an individual. According to Dr. Richards, fructose is specifically troublesome in consideration as its activation of the enzyme fructonase that is subsequently responsible for the activation of an enzyme with the ability to cause accumulation of fats in cells and the subsequent retention of the fat in cells. Overweight persons are more affected by this occurrence, but people of normal weight are rarely victims. So overweight people attempting to lose weight through the taking of breakfast made up of grains might be hampered in this occurrence. Dr. Johnson also adds that grains equally have the ability to break down sugars within the body, thus enhancing leptin and insulin resistance as the case in other sugars. The result of this effect is obesity and the difficulty in weight loss. Additionally, grain aid in the conversion of carbohydrates into fructose in the body. Dr. Johnson's research findings further reduce the authenticity of the assertion that breakfast leads to weight loss by overweight individuals. The idea that breakfast inherently ideal for our health has been strengthened by the widespread marketing campaigns aimed at boosting the sales of bacon, cornflakes, and eggs. Another specialist, Dr. James Bettis, who is a senior nutrition professor at the University of Bath, expressed his surprise at the suggestions made by marketers. He states, while it is claimed that breakfast meals enhance our metabolism, thus making it likely for weight gain to be realized in addition to getting more energy, the logic sound benefits are largely assumptions that are the result of several observation studies that were never really tested. Dr. James admits to not finding any evidence to any perception despite his much effort. He was astonished as he had anticipated finding considerable amount of data on the same. Owing to the sole use of observation and the general justification of breakfast as being the most vital meal of the day, the justification of the belief is challenging. It is, for instance, considerably difficult to distinguish whether regular breakfast takers are healthy rather than them being healthy owing to their tendency of taking breakfast. Dr. Bettis, for instance, noted the tendency by doctors to instruct their patients who are overweight to resume taking their breakfast if they had previously discontinued it. He notes that even doctors make this recommendation, yet they are considerably ignorant of the impact of taking breakfast. Dr. Bettis conducted an experiment in which he had two sets of subjects. The first group of subjects took breakfast made up of 700 calories or more, while the other subjects were restricted to exclusively intaking water until lunch. He made the discovery that while those who skipped breakfast ate more during the lunch, they failed to compensate sufficiently for the 700 calories that they had previously missed. The experiment thus disputed the belief that missing breakfast leads to more hunger later in the day, thus more consumption of food that will lead to the occurrence of obesity. The reason for this finding is the similarity levels of ghrelin at lunchtime in both those who took breakfast and those who failed to do so. Ghrelin is the hormone responsible for making an individual feel hungry. It was noted that while the hormone level dropped in individuals who fasted until lunch, it remained consistently high in individuals who took breakfast. Research reveals that children who take breakfast perform worse in schools than those who skip it. The reason for this occurrence may be attributed to the considerable wealth backgrounds of children who take breakfast. A psychology professor at Bristol University, Professor Peter Rogers, said that since most of us could do with eating less, breakfast presents an amazing opportunity to do so, bearing in mind that it's the easiest meal to skip. Most of the individuals in the modern world, particularly in developing countries, have a tendency to overeat. Skipping breakfast allows a person to burn up the energy resources that would gradually accumulate to excess fat, resulting in obesity. So what we're saying is drink water until lunch. Thank you.